Yo, Lalainaban, Yiki, Hotep, peace. Yeah, so I just wanted to show my face real quick so I can speak about something that I've been presented with in this time. It doesn't have anything to do with what you think. But listen, so I, like many people who live in the United States of America, have received my census documents or my census questionnaire for the country's census or population poll, if you will. And I wanted to speak on that because I feel like it's a very interesting opportunity that we have in this time as Black people and as African descended people. All my followers who identify with those identities, I'm speaking to us, Ba, which is us in Casa. So right now, like many other times in our history in this country, we are faced with plenty of identity politics within our own communities, and also in the larger national community. There's ways that other races of people see us as a race, and especially since this country is a very racial country, and that's part of the reason why censuses, exist, to see how many of what race we have in this space. But since we live in a space like this, race is exasperated as far as its importance in this society, more so than it is in any other part of the world, I believe. But in addition to that, there's ways that other races see us, but there's also ways that, other ethnicities within our race see each other. Yeah, so even though Black has become like a homogenous identity in this society because of our history with white supremacy, and dealing with it and resisting against it and just living in a racial society, I feel like even though we have this identity that's overarching, we have obvious complexities within our race as a people. We are one people, but we're many different people. In Jamaica, they have a saying, out of many, one people. I feel like it applies to Black people so much because as African descended people, we have so much diversity through our ethnicities. And yes, I say ethnicities because Black, honestly, it's not an ethnicity, PSA. It's a race. And I feel like through dealing with race so much in the society, which is no fault of our own, we didn't create that concept. We often tend to overlook our complexities and diversities and beauty as a people, and I find that when people do embrace these differences amongst, like, Black people embrace these differences, it looks very national. And I use national for a reason, because nationality, it's been something that's been brought up so much in our community. And for some of the people that are in the so-called conscious community, where my mind is right now. So I want to make it clear that, even though you might, as a Black person, hail from somewhere like Jamaica or Haiti or the United States of America, or any country in the diaspora, and even on the continent, even between Ghanaians, Nigerians, Cameroonians, whatever, blah, is it me I say? Like, at the end of the day, those nations don't make up who you are, at least in your entirety, right? So my nationality is American, right? But my race is Black. So my race and nationality is Black American or African American, right? Me personally, I do not believe that encompasses all who I am. Yes, it's a part of it, and it's an important part in this society, unfortunately. But it does not encompass who I am as a person, as a human being, as a man. And I'll tell you why. Because I know a lot of people who identify with being Jamaican American or Nigerian American or whatever American, right? Because the nationality is still, if you live in this country, still American, is, it erases the ethnic differences. Because even if you say you're Jamaican American, even if you say you're Jamaican, that doesn't show your ethnicity. Even if you say you're Nigerian, that's not your ethnicity. There are ethnic groups that occupied these lands before they were nations, which means arguably your ethnicity, your tribe, ethnic group, whatever you want to call it, is probably the oldest part of your identity today as a person, as a human being walking this earth. It's probably the oldest identity next to being Homo sapien sapien. Like, and I don't think that's stressed enough in society, you know. And it wasn't until I started on the journey of Sankofa, which means reaching back and fetching what was lost in the past, aka finding my roots, was I able to pre that, yo, I'm missing a part of my identity that was not told to me or given to me through the school system, through my parents, you know, through my family. And you know why? It's because as a descendant of the MAAFA, the great tragedy of the slave trade, that was stolen from me. You know what I'm saying? That identity, that knowledge was not right. And if you are member of the African diaspora whose ancestors did go through the MAAFA, did go through the transatlantic slave trade, then your identity was hijacked as well. Unless you're descendant of a Maroon, you know what I'm saying, or your ancestors held on to that knowledge of self and traditions, where in a place like America, in the United States at least, that was damn near almost impossible unless you're like the Gullah Geechee, who are isolated from the rest of the country. You know, like, bro, they made drumming illegal in America at one point. And I'm getting emotional at this point. I don't want to get off track, but listen, I just want to make the point that me personally, for this census coming up, I'm not only gonna do what I've been doing for my whole life, which is just check black, check African American. It's not gonna stop there. The question will not end there. Kapana aso. Kapana aso. The question will not stop, you know, until I put my ethnicity, my tribe, my ethnic group, which is Brasa, Balanta, Brasa. Because I took way too many DNA tests, took way too many trips to Africa, you know what I'm saying, and did too much research not to rep my real ancestors by name. And not by the name anybody else gave to them, but by the name they gave themselves, right? Brasa means we remain pure and undefeated. Balanta means those who resist. That is the name of my people, my ancestors that I'm repping, that I have through my veins. You see me, I say? That's who I am. I'm me that. So honestly, I would be damned if I didn't put that, you know, but I'm privileged because I have this knowledge. I recognize that I was privileged to be able to take DNA tests and to have the calling by the ancestors, by the Binyam Wule, to go search out who I am, who they were and are in my veins right now, you know, to really know myself. You know, knowledge of self is what my whole page is about, you know, behind all the Mantu arts, behind all the music and the information, the language. Like, it's all centered around my identity as an African man, as a Brasalante. You see me, I say? Like, it's all centered around that, you know? Like, just like how anybody's identity is the center of their being, you know? Like, that's what that privilege to know that knowledge, have that level of knowledge of self, which is still growing, might I add. But that is what I wish for all of my people. I really do, because it honestly saddens me how many mental pitfalls, cognitive dissonance, disinformation, federal mandates about national security, how many hoops, ladders, chutes, and just freaking just traps there are for us. And when it comes to our identity and finding out who we are, it's literally a national. Let me not get into that. Listen, it's literally a threat to certain powers that be, that thrive off of us clinging to the national identity, that cling to us being patriotic and cling to us being being overly religious and making our religion our identity, which is a big fault of Black people and African people, because we're so spiritual. We're susceptible to that. We need to check that, you know. But we don't have any power unless we really reclaim the ancestors, you know. Que ule santi sanhu, and the wise ones, the ancestors, ask me, pana needy ka sanhu, to tell you all of this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to say it in class right now. I'm trying to flex. But yeah, like, identity is very important. And with this census coming up, it's just highlighted for me. So I want to highlight it for you and put it in your consciousness with all this craziness going on in the world right now and everybody living their own life and evolving. I see all y'all out there. I'm proud of you if you're watching this. See me, I say, because I see y'all, using this time to self-reflect, alone time, all this stuff. But also don't forget your ancestors, the internal work, your psyche, healing yourself. A part of healing, because I'm a big proponent of healing, is knowledge of self, learning about your history, learning about your past. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Pan-Africanist, if you haven't noticed, and I believe that the path to healing as a people is repatriation. And not just repatriation to Africa as a physical means, but also mental repatriation, repatriating your mind. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. What was Bob Marley talking about? He was talking about, yo, you're an African, you're black, Africa's your home, find out who your people are. That's the whole message of reggae music in general and Rastafari. It's Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that, at least for me. Anybody want to come fight me out because I said that, any of the Rasta them that love the Bible and shit, I'm here. But I'm also African, and I want everybody else that's African-descended to know what ethnic group they are in Africa. It's one thing to know you're African, but it's another thing to take another step forward in front of that foot and to find out who in Africa you are. For my ones that already know, listen, you know what to do. Underneath that box that says Black African American, instead of putting your country of origin, if you know your ethnic group or tribe, please put that. Please put that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, that's the one thing that was taken away from us. So claim it. Claim it to the ones who took it away from you. You know what I'm saying? I'm strictly talking to my African Americans here, who the only people in the diaspora, the main only people in the diaspora to not, overthrow their slave master and to gain real liberation and freedom. Claim that liberation for yourself in a small way by reconnecting with your ethnic origins and putting it down in that official document to proclaim who you are. It's important to proclaim your identity. Same way the Moors want to proclaim nationality, claim your ethnicity.